All right, so we have two vocab words for this section. We've got altitude, which is the perpendicular line segment from a vertex of the triangle. Remember, vertexes are our corners on triangles, to the line containing the opposite side. So we see that it's a perpendicular drawn from the vertex to the opposite side. It has to form a 90-degree angle with that opposite side. Another word for altitude is height. So as you can see, we can also call the altitude the height. And in the diagram here, we see on this triangle, the altitude or height is drawn in the center of the triangle, or not the direct center, but somewhere in the middle there. And on this one, the altitude or height is an actual side of the triangle. Okay? And then the base is the side that is opposite of the vertex that connects the vertex and the base with the altitude. Alright? So here we have the altitude connecting the vertex and the base. Here we have the altitude connecting the vertex and the base. Alright? Okay. Are there any questions about those vocab words? Yeah, this little square or box says that this forms a right angle. And that's where this perpendicular really comes into play. We know it's perpendicular if we have that square there. Vertex? The vertex is pretty much any corner. So this corner could be a vertex, that could be a vertex, that could be a vertex. Could I have made this my vertex right here and drawn an altitude here if that created a right angle right there? Could I do that? Yeah. Absolutely. I would just have to kind of turn my paper, but I could absolutely do that. You can draw an altitude from any vertex to its opposite side as long as it's perpendicular and has this 90-degree angle. Great questions. All right. So we're going to draw three triangles and then label the altitude. So I'm going to show you two examples real quick of what I would like from you here. All right, the first one, if I just draw a regular triangle here, not regular in the sense that all sides and angles are equal, just that it is a basic triangle here. There are a bunch of different ways I can draw my altitude, and I'm going to use dotted lines to show my altitude. I could draw it here. I need to put that right angle box though, and I'm going to put an H next to it for altitude. Or you can put an arrow pointing to it. Either way is fine. But what if I drew a right triangle? Then the line would be which side? If I make this one the H, this one has to be the base. Could I make it that this one would be the H down here, and this one would be the base? Yes, as long as it's going from the 90-degree angle. So we're just using H as our altitude notation. So I'd like you to try to draw three of your own. So we've seen a couple different triangles now, and sometimes the altitude or height is a side, and sometimes it's not. When is the altitude a side? Great answer. Can you say that a little louder so everybody can hear me back?
When I say right triangle?
Yes, the altitude is a side when the triangle is a right triangle. So the altitude is a side when the triangle is a right triangle. And again, you might end up not deciding to use the side of the right triangle as its altitude. You might end up drawing your own. That's also fine. But right triangles do have them built in. You don't always have to use them, but they are built in. So when is it not a side?
When it's not a right triangle.
Not always true, because there are sometimes that right triangles can still have it. I don't know why this thing won't go away. Carlos, please. Thank you. Oh yeah, yeah. So because Leslie's not here, so Leslie's gonna hear Carlos moaning in the back. So I'll write it over here in case this is not gonna go away. It's not a side when we draw it ourselves. Yes, it's there. We just haven't drawn it yet.